records like that.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call this workshop to order. Let the record reflect that the quorum is present. Meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. We do want to acknowledge Commissioner Marshall's presence. We do have with us Leslie Waxman from Waxman Associates to discuss our American Rescue Plan Act allocation.
And Michael's not feeling well, I heard.
It's not.
One of his hands had COVID the other day, and he was around all day, he just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Risk spreading it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, well, I seem to be a little bit on the spot here, but, it's,
Yes, ma'am.
I am here because it's time to be here, that's why I'm here. So Jackie, when did you tell me you thought your second tranche of money would be coming?
Well, the email I got said that we would have it in 4 days, but it's been 4 days and everybody else, other counties have gotten it. So it can take anywhere from 4 days, 2 weeks, 4 weeks.
That, I will tell you, that's exactly what I've heard from my other clients, so that's in keeping with everything. So let's just say for all intents and purposes, the money is on schedule to be here and will be here shortly. The last thing that we had to do was do some reporting, which was very minor and easy. Nothing to that. But now we've gotten to the point where it's probably time to make a decision on what you want to do with the money. You have a lot of options. One thing that has popped up to me is that there might be some interest in redoing the rodeo arena. So that might be something that we put on the list of possibilities and discuss how we get from this room to out there actually doing something and making those improvements. So am I on track with?
Yes, ma'am, and also, I talked to Ms. Cruz yesterday, and I think she might have talked to Mike also, but, there's a bunch of record, documentation that they're gonna have to do, and I think the price tag is like $2 million. And I don't know if we could help out, with that.
It's the district clerk. It's the old records that are like in books, and there's a company that come in and scan them and make them electronic, so if the books disintegrate, they've still got the records. That's what.
There's a big price tag, and I think it's mandated that they.
Yes, sir, this is a big problem from county to county, so y'all want me to look into the possibility of being able to use these funds for that?
Well, I don't know about all, but.
Some, possibly,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
And then also,
Good morning, yeah.
they're
Morning, Terry.
helping the library.
What was that?
The library. So I'll put that.
Well, normally the way I would start, if there is genuine interest for the rodeo arena, that seems like a pretty good price tag to me. So y'all tell me as a county, when something like this comes up and y'all are gonna make the repairs yourself on this end, what's the first thing y'all do, Judge? Do you go hire somebody to assess it? Do y'all have somebody at a local level that can tell you the problems?
I think we've done both.
Okay, y'all.
Yeah, we've
y'all
done
already
local
know.
and then we've done
Well,
contract.
we haven't done it on the rodeo.
Right.
No,
Okay.
just,
I think
yeah,
you're asking just previous projects.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, well then, I think the first order of business would be to, call in an architect or an engineer, and get them to go out there and let's take a look at what kind of situation we have. I've been told that there's some concerns about it being a danger to people.
The roof is obvious. I mean,
Okay.
it's
You can stand in the rain and get loose with it.
Okay, y'all tell me about.
I mean,
the
there's pieces of purlin that are hanging down, you know, that are rusted out. I mean, it's, Stephen knows, he knows more about it probably. He's
Yeah,
seen it.
the purlins aren't even holding the lights up anymore. The lights are falling down because the purlins are so rusted out. It's very obvious, you can see that. And the bleachers themselves are not up to safety specs, up to code. And actually, we had 2 children fall through the bleachers this past rodeo. One of them broke his arm, and they caught the other by, it was like a
They're just,
3-month-old,
they
caught
were
by the
built,
ankle, so it fell. Yeah.
I mean, they were built like by local people probably back in the day.
Back in the
And they're just
70s.
wooden and it's very easy to fall. You know, if a little kid's playing on the bottom where your feet are, they can, whoop. Yeah, but that, and I think, Stephen, the other thing that you was talking about was maybe some really nice restrooms and
Yeah.
a multi-purpose building that's big enough to really do something in.
If we have enough money.
If we have enough money, but I know metal and everything is gonna eat it up pretty bad.
Yeah,
We would like to have a pod, make it into a pod under that shed to where it could be multiple functional in a disaster, emergency situation.
it's not currently used as a pod out there.
No, it's, you can't drive through it the way it's set up now. So,
Okay.
and that's what we'll do is redesign and have a driveway that loops through and you have multiple lanes coming through there. And a covered pod, and then when we're not using it as a pod, it can be used by the fair. And then also, the rodeo, the dog committee uses that.
It'd be nice to have restrooms out there.
Yeah, that's a main thing right there to
Okay,
me.
so it is a main thing, and $2 million goes
Not very.
not as far as it used to go. So is there anybody y'all like working with on this type of
We
thing?
like working with you.
Well, I appreciate that. Now I need to extend that to somebody that has the professional knowledge that an engineer or an architect will have. Goodwin Lasker is an engineering firm y'all currently are working with, and they have an architecture firm. I have the man's card in my bag just because I met with him last week on something for Polk County. I'm sure there are all kinds of people we can look at. I would like to go through a procedure of procurement to hire you, an engineer / architect, and tell us what the scope of work would be out there. But before we do that, if it's okay with y'all, can we have some kind of, maybe, would it be too hard to have a committee to oversee this, or do y'all want to keep this coming straight through this body like we have it today? Because I'm gonna need some point people, which Stephen, I'm already looking at you, because they are pretty in the Greeks, right? But we need somebody to go out there with the engineer, the architect, other than me. Y'all tell them what you want changes, and let's see what's possible financially and otherwise, and that's where I would start, y'all. I don't intend to do everything I would normally do, like on your general land office grant we have going. I'm not gonna do all of those steps because the law does not require that. I do every single thing that I do on those. So we'll save a little time that way and money that way as well. We won't have to go through those processes, in other words. So what do y'all think? Y'all want me to call somebody and set something up, or wanna ask some questions before I do that?
So we don't, like, as far as selecting like an engineer, we don't have to go out for,
No, I would like for you to go out, for procurement, and go through that step, just like y'all did hiring me. And I'm glad to do that. It's not a difficult process. I just would like a better idea, probably Stephen, from you, of what the scope of work would be. It can be very, up here.
Yeah.
But it'll give us a place to start, but we need to get y'all somebody you're comfortable with and has the same vision that y'all have.
Yeah, I think probably we need to have, however we do this, and this might be the way to do this, we go out there and tell them what we want, and then say, well, you don't have enough money for that, and say, well, tell us what we have enough money for. You know what
Yes, sir.
our big thing is, tell me where we have to back up to, we can get this done. Of course, we can't vote on anything today or decide until we're just in a workshop, but we can get that put on the agenda for the next meeting to go out for. What would it be called?
I would just say that we would, be selecting an engineer / architect, to address our ARP project.
Okay.
Is how I would put it on the agenda.
Okay.
Just because we're not sure what we're doing yet.
Right.
So, we'll make sure we do everything through this body, just like we would do with any other grant funds. So everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, and I think we could probably come up with a point person and a couple of commissioners and then a couple of people that know what might need to be done out there. And we can involve those into an ad hoc committee to meet with the architect or engineer, wherever we decide, and then we'll bring information back to court once that's done. And decide if that's the way the court wants to go with it.
Okay. And look, honestly, from what y'all just threw at me, which is, a lot of maintenance and dilapidation, in bathrooms and a potential pod, I think we're getting pretty close to eating the money in. So, if you wanna look at other things, we can certainly do that, but I would say let's get moving on this, so you get a dollar amount in your mind, and maybe you do have $400,000 left somewhere to give to the library or for the new records, retention act, or whatever they call that. But I would say, whatever is your biggest want to, let's start there and put a dollar amount on it.
Right, and not just, I think we need to look at these other things too,
Yes,
just
sir.
like you said, because they're needful also.
Jackie, we have like 200.
Now, we have some left from the
Yeah,
other,
first one.
Yeah, it's like 200,
200,
240 something thousand, I don't know.
I was looking for it.
Some of that's gonna be eaten up in architect and engineer services too. How much?
yeah, that's another thing, they can really eat you alive.
Yes, sir, but because of the nature of what we're doing, you have to have one, so, it's one of those things.
Right, yeah, well, yeah, because you want it all done legit, handicap and all that. Stephen, question, were you, and I know you said something about this in the past or whatever, but are you talking about completely raising what's there?
You talking about the arena too?
No, I'm talking about the structure that, what are your thoughts? That's what I'm asking.
What I would like to do is put a new roof on what's there
Right,
and move all the bleachers to the west side of the arena and cover those, just to cover them. And then make what's on the east side where the bleachers are now into the pond, where it's a drive-through from the north to the south. But have all that concrete underneath on the east side of the arena. I've talked to a couple of rodeo people that build arenas, and they said we really rebuilt the arena, we had to move it south of where it was at to get it wide enough for professional rodeos. So if you're gonna rebuild the arena, you're going to cut everything down and move it to a wider location. There's not enough width there to make it work where it's at. I would like to cover the arena with just an open sided top shed, and you would just move the bleachers to the east side under that one shed that covers it all. I don't know if we got enough money to do that. That's kind of what we need to have somebody say. You don't have enough money to do that, think of something else.
And
Do
so,
y'all have music out there? Do y'all have music out there?
Music,
Uh-huh.
like,
Like live music ever?
I don't know, what only, well,
The reason I'm asking this is in Jasper, we covered ours, and then the acoustics were terrible. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
mention that, I think it was safe.
they've had music before on
Okay.
Low Boy at the rodeo, but there's not a venue of
Okay.
live music going on now.
so that, the side that's there now, that would be concreted and enclosed. like-
No, I just top.
Just the top.
Yes, just to keep the weather and the sun out, yeah.
Yeah.
Not enclosing, just cover it is what I think.
Depending on what the engineering people say, you could probably reuse those big,
Possibility, yeah.
structures, but all those purlins.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
purlins are gone.
All the red iron.
It's
is
scary
gone,
sitting
yeah.
under there.
All the red iron is deteriorated, anything, the steel structure being possibly be used, steel, and the foundation that's there, that they're on, so they still in pretty good shape.
Joe, you mentioned the library, would that be like a brick and mortar type of
Like a-
project, or?
Like the electrical wires in there, it's the old style. Ms. Penny, could you speak to the electrical problem over there?
Yes, the wiring is very, very old. Our understanding is the original from when it was moved over there in
Yeah.
1966. And the problem we're having right now is getting anybody who's willing to touch it. You know, we keep going out for quotes, contacting people directly, how much would it cost? We can't seem to get anybody to want to tackle the old building. And so I don't know how much that would cost to get in there and take out all that old wiring and put in new, but there's so many unknowns about like what's between the wall studs and all that kind of stuff. But, that's primarily the biggest issue, and a lot of maintenance has been deferred over the years. Every time we turn around, it's the hot water heater, there's $2,000, it's the air conditioner stops working, it's just a constant, trying to stay ahead of the systems failing internally, so we just don't have the reserves to cover all of it, so we're trying to prioritize and keep it all together.
So is the wiring problem, is that in the museum side or the library side? Both.
It's the old house and the original part of the library, the children's room and all of that, is my understanding. I'm not calling the attic. The Bunch reading room and the Texas room, those are more recent, like 2010, and then the Texas room is 2019, 2020. So that, I'm not worried about that, I'm worried about the other part. So, and there's different things like I don't know all that much about electricity, except that, you've got breaker boxes and all of that, and how everything is wired. We did get the funding for the lift to make it handicap accessible, wheelchair accessible. The problem is when there's special kind of wiring you have to be able to run that, and right now we don't know if the infrastructure on the wiring will even allow it. So we've got this generous gift to be able to do it, but we've got this other issue we've got to address before we can say, yes, go ahead and start. So, does that help? Is that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And what kind of project would we be looking at? Electrical wiring is one of the main.
That's the big one, and just making sure everything is as it should be, that it will continue to last. It's not a construction project or anything like that. It's the infrastructure inside the walls and all that kind of stuff. And now we have the original toilet in the library. It sings every time you flush it and go ahead and work the plumber, it's constant, so.
So,
Don't flush it.
It sounds like somebody's pulling the tail off a squirrel or hyena or something. There's no handed out there.
And I know it's gonna cost quite a bit of money to do this record restoration. But it'd be nice if we could do something like that too, because it's something that we're gonna have to do.
And we fund some of that every year, Bill.
So,
We fund that, some of that every year.
Well, there's only funded 10,000.
yeah.
And
They
look,
do a little
out of
bit.
everything that you've told me so far this morning, that certainly is the easiest one, because you just give them the money to help them. There's no footprint of a project, like at the library, I'm gonna need to get an electrical engineer to go take a look at her situation, so we really know what we're talking about. It sounds pretty expensive. But, so if you wanna hold out and give them a portion and see if we can't find a way to do more than one thing with this money, we could take a look at it that way, but that part's easy. Okay, if y'all decide you wanna do that.
I mean, how much is that
2 million.
for the
Well,
records?
No, what
Well,
I,
that's what you said.
Well,
Well, that's,
I'm talking
she got
about,
a price to get it all done.
Right, yeah. Well, that was 2 million to do
yeah,
it.
but I'm not,
But what's the mandatory thing, if I remember what she said, was like 1953 forward or 1955 forward. The one back, then that was a whole different.
So the 2
That's gonna
million is
have to
for
be
everything.
one of them, yeah, that's for everything, and I'm not,
I think she wasn't wanting
No.
it all done.
Yeah.
She was just wanting a portion to get a chunk of it done, with this money.
And they have a fee they collect for that too, is that right? Designated fee, but it's not much, but there is a fee. Every court case that comes
and
through.
it's not just our county that what do you have having all
Yeah, it's
the
required.
department,
Unfunded
unfunded
mandate. That's exactly
how,
what
how
it is.
many years do y'all have to get in compliance with that?
I texted Renee and she's at a doctor.
She's at a doctor.
appointment, so-
Okay.
But isn't that true for all departments? I mean, doesn't Donnie's have to,
Yeah, and we're doing the same thing. We give them money to do 4 or 5 years, 2 years, whatever it is, they send those books off.
That's what, Donnie's, that's what she uses her records management.
Right.
for. She does it a little bit every year because she can't afford to do her whole thing that needs to be done. And she's got her people scanners, so they can be scanned in. Some of the old big books she's had rebound, that's basically what she used that for, but anything that her people can scan in, they're scanning it in and indexing it themselves. But hers, you can't, you have to have special equipment to do those big books, and that's what she's been sending out. So those that are handwritten, they're encased in that special stuff and all that.
It's for preservation, mainly is what it's for.
they're pretty fascinating to read through too. You'll find,
Make sure we don't lose the records in a fire or something like that, or a flood.
if we lose them in a flood, I don't wanna be here.
So,
Flood from the inside.
Yeah,
tax
like the
office.
tax office.
so I do want to mention something that you brought up, Commissioner Stark, about, what?
You called me out.
No, a good thing.
Oh,
You brought up wanting to have a pod at this location, and, I want to take this opportunity to mention y'all that if you're going, if you need the pod, which obviously you do, or you would want one, I would try, whether we redo the rodeo arena completely or we don't, I would use this money to try and establish a pod location, because even though you're about to get, $9.3 million, for the mitigation projects coming up, you cannot use that money to create a pod. So I just want to mention that right
can we
now.
use it to improve the pod?
No, sir.
Okay.
Unless they tell us tomorrow that they've changed the rules and happens every so often, but, I would look in this direction to meet that need, rather than, put my eggs in the other basket. Okay, I'd say
Can't
that.
use that money to make a pot, to build.
No, sir, nothing under the general local government cannot be used with those mitigation funds. That's more to do, drainage, infrastructure projects, things of that nature. But this AR money, we can do everything that we're talking about. So we just need to figure out how much you can afford to do. So, and we can start getting that figured out for sure. So, anything else that y'all have been approached about or think, should be on this list?
A little bit airport work, I think, a landing, some kind of landing, instrument landing, system. And Michael brought that up in one of our commission court meetings.
Somebody wanted to swim one or.
Yeah, like we have.
That's
that.
in the study, you would that.
I know this, the judge and that judge, how long ago was that meeting? I mean, it's been 100 of them since then, but 3 or 4 years ago, when we sat
Yes.
down and talked to Senator Nichols
Right.
about that. So based on that meeting we had several years ago, I think the price tag may be kind of enormous and the commitment, may be bigger than what you want to do here.
And I think what Mike was talking about, some improvements to the electronics and the lights and the help the planes land safely,
Okay,
enter and leave safely.
okay.
Have no idea how much one of those costs for.
I think to lengthen that runway out there, you could probably go find you a good piece of flat land somewhere and build a whole new one
Yeah.
before you could do that. That is a tremendous ravine back, I mean, you'd have to haul thousands of loads of dirt.
That was discussed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just almost, it's kind of crazy. Or that'd be my thinking, find you a flatter piece of land.
2019.
Okay, it seemed like long.
I know.
Well, that was back when things were ordinary, back in
Right.
2019, probably the last of it. So, okay. I've got it on my list. I'm gonna follow up with Mike and just ask him what he was talking about so that he's accounted for here too. All right, anything else in the way that you need to do to get prepared for a disaster? And I'm asking you this because again, this money can be used differently than your disaster money. So if there's anything you've been wanting to do and not able to do, this might be a good opportunity to bring that
I had one thought, but it's not, it's like a small project, and I don't know if we would have to go out for engineering. We need a storm drain at the nutrition center at the back of the building, and, just to get that water, away from coming into that back. We've had it several times in the back, running the back door and into the bathroom area, and, that was like a 6-inch rain, just one little, and they came in. So it would be nice to have like a little storm drain at the beginning of that and maybe kick that water out. But like I said, it's not gonna be a huge
up.
project.
Is it on your property or is it on the street? I mean, is it a city problem?
No, it's a county problem. It's on,
Okay.
the drains all
Make
our
sure I'm
property into the back
talking
door.
about
Yeah.
You're talking about like a French drain or something like that
Something
to
like
capture
that.
it?
Something where it could just capture the water and divert it away from
Okay, so let's talk about now, we've got 5 things on our list. We've got, I told you about wanting to hire you an engineer. The engineer is not needed for the records retention. I will need an engineer, to do the rodeo arena. The library can be, we can use the same engineer under that purview.
Just put it in our agenda items.
Yes, sir, I'm gonna write it, the RFQ so that we're looking, to do several projects, and I don't have to name them. But also, I can bring him over there and let him look at the storm drain, that's not that big a deal, we can get that fixed, and, if you pick the engineer that last put the roof on it and everything, which, you know, he's probably got schematics of everything anyway, so, all right, so the only thing that I cannot lump into this for the engineering is the airport. And the reason being is that's specialized. There are two groups I know of right now, and Jackie may know more. KSA does, engineering at airports. They do a lot. Eddie Page does, if you're taking notes. And Brandon Corporation is another firm that knows a lot about airports, and that's who I believe Jasper County's used for quite some time to do their airport stuff. So that would have to be separate. I'd have to pull that out. For that reason, I'd like to keep that on the back burner and let, you know, next court meeting, if y'all decide to give me permission to start procurement, I will hit the ground running, and we will find somebody, get them hired, and then we will invite them to come over and show them around. And then back will come the cost estimates with maps, and then we can take a look at what y'all think you can afford to do, or, you know, well, we don't know till we see it all. Put it on the table, and hopefully you can touch on each one of these. And I am praying that your electrical problem is not as bad as it sounds like.
Well, it's an easy fix, but.
Well, okay, so, anything else?
Are you gonna come up with the wording for the agenda items?
Yes,
And we'll get them on this next court, which is
The 8th.
the 8th of August.
Okay. Certainly do that, and so that's, it's the 8th of Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Do the next week.
Should papers still come
Yeah.
out on Thursday?
Yeah, turn it in on Monday, it comes out on Wednesday.
Oh, I didn't know I thought she said what the day was.
I was thinking it was like,
Yeah. I didn't realize it was 2 years. Oh. Yeah, a whole week. Oh.
Alright, so what I normally do to hire an engineer is I follow the CFR 200, and, I'm gonna use something similar to what we always use, but I'm gonna change the scope of work a little bit to say ARP. I will send it out to 5 different firms, plus minority firms, because they'd like us to do that. Women-owned firms, this is all part of what I'm required to do. If there are any firms that you would like me to reach out to, please let me know, and I will certainly get them involved and be glad to send them a request. Otherwise, I'm just gonna pick them myself. Or I can give y'all a list and y'all can say yes or no. If there's somebody you don't want on there, y'all let me know that too.
Just as long as you, in my opinion, as long as you use the ones that are close by, that we normally bid, or
If
they're
I
normally
can get to
notified.
your office and yell at them in an hour and 10 minutes, then I'm good.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir, no, we
Okay.
always try to use somebody real local. We have several engineers in the Beaumont area. Y'all have used more engineers in Deep East Texas in the past,
We
but.
normally go north.
Right, but there's a handful of firms we work with, and any of those will do a good job, I believe. So, all right, so on the 8th, when I get back to the office, who do I send the agenda item to? And do y'all want me to CC you on everything I'm doing? Or do you want me to just go through Jackie or?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's just,
Okay. Okay, all right. Do y'all all do email? Okay.
once a day, just like regular
I have to ask that question because still some people don't. All right.
How do they get
so-
away with that?
And I remind y'all that I'm gonna copy all of these so nobody ever fly off. Okay? And I do have a new email address because we've had so many problems at my office. It is me, it is not spam or something of that nature, so.
Send your photograph with it. Send your profile photograph with it. So we'll know it's you.
Just send a picture of the pink bag.
Yes, sir, I can do that, I can do that.
That'll get us.
So, okay, do y'all want me here on the 8th to,
That would
Just
be
in
the-
case?
Just in case.
I'll be here on the 8th, okay?
Do we need to put something on there to form an ad hoc committee to do that, or can we just do that?
Yes, sir, oh, I'm sorry, thank you. We will be needing to do that in order to select this committee. We'll need to appoint a rating committee like you do on all your other projects. I'm not sure, who wants to be on that committee.
How many do we need?
Well, it's your committee, so it's up to you.
And do you keep all the records of the rating and all of that?
Yeah, I'm gonna help you walk through the whole thing, and, I won't consider myself a committee person, but I'll more like the committee secretary, okay? So I'll walk you through what you need to do and look for, and, you know, but when we're looking at picking an engineer, obviously, we're looking at some things, and they're not, do they do great water wells? That's not what we're looking for. So we wanna know about their electrical, we wanna know, their other work in this area. So, and I'm not even sure how to word that yet, but I'm gonna get it figured out. So,
That needs to be a separate agenda item for me.
yes, I'm gonna put 2 agenda items, one to give the permission to start the process, and the second to actually create the committee. So, Joe, are you gonna be on the committee?
Sure.
I hope, okay, it can be all of y'all, if you want it to be.
Well, we have to have open meeting though if we do that. And I'll be on it too. I mean, 2 of us can be on there.
Judy can do that, and I will tell you, in the, like, 15 years ago, when we would do this, we never had to appoint a committee. What we would do, the committee was the court. So it took longer, and y'all hated to see me coming some days, but we go ahead and do the ratings and open everything in that selection and spend that 20 minutes in court and do it. That's not the way they want it done now, and y'all wouldn't want it done that way either. It takes up a lot of time. So, it's whatever, and you don't have to decide today who's on that committee, but when we get to court, we should know.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's see, anything else we might be missing or want to take a look at? Okay.
What?
I said by the silence, I
Oh,
would think
okay.
no.
Then are you gonna take care of the agenda item for the committee and everything?
She's gonna-
Or are you gonna do that as
Yeah,
well?
she's gonna do that.
Yes, I'm gonna take care of everything from here. That's gonna be my job.
All right.
Y'all just call me, give me directions, what you want, and if you see something you don't like and you wanna do something different, just call me up and let me know that too, and we'll do it a different way.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, this is my first rodeo arena.
It's gonna be more like a shed, I think, before it's over.
Oh, that's the way I'm telling you.
Okay.
It's a big fish.
While we're talking, did you envision any kind of maybe a multi-purpose building out there bigger than that little shed we got?
I did, but I don't think we have near enough money to do all that with. Yeah, that would be nice to.
Even if it was just like a shell?
What
Expand
kind of
on what we have.
multi-purpose building are you talking about, Commissioner?
Well, I'm just saying, you know, we have that little small home economics building, you know, that's out there, and it's really ragtag. I mean, something that's big enough to have a legitimate event in, you know, like at Dogwood time or at the rodeo time, or even like a high school proms or something like that, you know, something that everybody could benefit from.
It would also need to have, what my big vision would be to have a commercial kitchen that had an outdoor way to serve and then an internal way to serve. That way you could use it for functions, the kitchen, and to use outside if there's a rodeo or the fair or whatever going on there, but also use that as have an open room with the restrooms and everything in it for feeding the emergency workers at the pod and also housing the emergency workers and also storage for any equipment that would, but it'd be big enough for all staff, you know.
Could incorporate your bathrooms and have showers.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you run into a lot of money when you start doing that. So that's the big vision.
But it
I don't
depends
think-
on how fancy you make it. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be like,
My vision's bigger than my money, I know that.
That's your money.
Okay. So can we build a,
If that's
For
what
that,
you wanna do.
on the HUD money?
I was trying to listen to you talk until you said the right things. which-
Did I say it right?
You did.
Okay.
I heard you say that you wanted something possibly for housing your emergency workers. Okay, well, the money that you're gonna get for mitigation, can be used for those sort of things. So that'll be a different discussion, but you certainly could look at doing that, and you can afford to do that, okay? So if you want that on the possibility list over there, that's where I would put it. Now, you can't do the pod,
Right.
but you could
But
do
the
the whole
pod,
building.
but the pod is totally separate from this building.
Sure.
Yes, okay.
So,
When do we need to talk about that?
well, you,
Is that on this agenda?
Are we, Jackie, are we gonna have the, bids in the next meeting?
We're providing that.
on the 8th is, I believe,
The request for proposal.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll have those,
Yes.
so we can talk about that until we get those.
So, yes or no?
We started the process with the same thing.
but I
Just
believe they're
Where the
doing-
agenda item is written.
But we know where we can get that money from.
So, I guess it's good.
Oh, yeah, I got big pictures of that outside with them.
Right, well, I think it's important when you're talking about these things to remember what you can do with certain pots of money that you can't. So tomorrow, Judge, are you plan on attending DECCOG?
I am.
Okay, great. That is where it will become final. And, following that meeting, the general land office is going to, they say a 2-hour talk, which I've never heard them talk for that long, so maybe, maybe not, but gonna tell us about how this money's gonna work. I've read the guidelines, so I don't have that many questions. Y'all have not hired anybody yet, so you don't have anybody that could ask questions on your behalf, but you can ask your own questions if you want to, if you have any. If I were y'all, I would have some questions about where I can spend my money in this county because of the zip codes. Polk County has this same issue, and I work for them as well, and I intend to ask those questions tomorrow so that I understand.
I think we posted that as a workshop, so.
Okay.
Right,
Right, well, I think
Joe's
it,
gonna
it, it would be good if y'all could all hear that, because it is a little bit unusual, where you can spend the money and not spend the money in this county, but what you just mentioned, I know fits. Now, that may not be what the court wants to do, that's just, one idea at this point. But I highly encourage y'all to participate and listen tomorrow if you can, and give the judge some backup. So, how long did y'all work on that? Oh, almost a year? Did it seem like?
The what?
The bond.
Yeah,
It's been a long time.
yeah, more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know I was jumping up and down in 2020 going, are y'all about to get finished? And so the state took a long time to get the rules to Lonnie, but once he got them, he got going. So, anyway, that's where we are. And, okay. Anything else?
That's it.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Is there a second? All in favor? Okay, motion second. And, yeah, we're adjourned.